Welcome to 1000 GM Player Profiles. We're here with another excellent player, International Master Kyron Griffith. Welcome, Kyron, and thank you for joining us on the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Dylan. I'm very excited to be here and excited to play in the tournament.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you are here, and so is 1000 GM. So let's jump right in and start with some questions from 1000 GM. They want to hear what your experience is like in chess tournaments and especially in norm tournaments. Um, First, what do you see as the mission of 1000 GM as you understand it?
As I understand it, 1000 GM is trying to promote chess, especially high level chess in the US, and especially giving players who are kind of at the FM and IM level that opportunity to reach the next level. Since there are a number of these similar tournaments in Europe, but the number of norm tournaments in the US tends to be a lot less. So I think it's awesome that uh, you know 1000 GM is putting these on, and especially having them on the West Coast. There are some norm tournaments on the East Coast, but really not much on the West Coast
Right,
before this.
right, great. Yeah, and how much money have you spent personally going to norm tournaments up till now? I mean, can you even quantify it?
Uh, yeah, that's a hard hitting question. I've never really wanted to think about it, but
Uh-huh.
no, but it's
Maybe a
definitely
ballpark. Maybe a
yeah, norm
ballpark.
tournaments for seekers typically cost around between 800 and $1,000 just for entry,
Hmm.
and then plus flights and hotel.
Right,
That's significantly more. I've played, mm, I want to say like 4 or 5 of these at this point,
right.
and I have also played as a conditioned player as an IM before, so that kind of helps pay for the GM ones. But
Oh, I see.
yeah, it's still a huge financial investment. That that's one of the things that they don't really tell you about making IM GM is there is a significant financial investment required,
Right,
unfortunately.
right. And what impact do you think it'll have on the chess scene if 1000 GM is successful in launching these tournaments?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll help spark the next wave of promising American chess players for sure. Like I think we'll see a number of IM and GM norms made. That'll be really exciting, and yeah, hopefully this can be even more publicized, like put in the media, and it'd be really cool if we can keep this going in the long term.
Great, great. And um, let's talk about the quality of events that you have played. Um, do does each event that you've played have a specific quality that you expect, a specific standard of the event, or are there a range depending upon the organizer and etc.?
Oh, there's a huge range. So I think the big opens in the U.S. with thousands of players,
Mm-hmm.
the conditions tend to be like pretty poor.
Yeah,
That's just kind of how it is, and I think that is one maybe due to the number of players and due to the venue not being able to accommodate it well enough. Also, I think some of the organizers sometimes don't put player conditions at the top of their minds.
mm-hmm.
But from my experience, norm tournaments with these pretty high entry fees, and but on the other hand, they are like a lot more personal, a lot less people, and typically the conditions are much better at norm tournaments. So I kind of expect a level depending on what kind of tournament I'm going to.
Yeah. So you're saying there's basically a difference between round robin tournaments and open tournaments. Is there the same difference in Europe? Do they? Yeah, I'm just curious if the open tournaments are higher quality than the open tournaments here.
Yeah, the open tournaments in Europe are much higher quality. I played in Europe a number of years ago, and I actually played in Biel, Switzerland, and it's very nice. You play one game a day, which is much less exhausting.
Yeah.
They provide stats, clocks, notation. They the you know restroom like ordeal is all very comfortable and not overcrowded, and so
Right.
yeah, it's definitely a luxury to play in Europe.
And where do you typically stay when you play these events? Do you stay at hotels or do you stay with friends or combination?
Depends. Yeah, if I have friends in the area, I'll typically try to stay with them or family. But if not, then yeah, usually I try to find a friend or two who is also going to the tournament, and then we'll just split a hotel room.
Is that kind of typical? Do most players have to split because of the cost?
I mean, I think it just in general makes more sense to split the hotel room because of it's nice to hang out with a friend, but
Yeah.
and obviously the cost is a factor as well.
Yeah. So you prefer to have a roommate. Is that because of just like sharing the chess, camaraderie or, studying and reviewing games?
Yeah, I think uh, I do have like a close friend going to this one, so we'll room together. But I think if it was a tournament where I didn't really have that close of a friend, I wouldn't really go out of my way to find a roommate.
Yeah. Yeah. And along with that, what do you think will take to make chess spectator friendly? It seems like there's a gap between the US and Europe. Is it spectator friendly in both regions, or is there just something generally that needs to be done?
Yeah, well, I think my opinion of like making chess spectator friendly is you do just have to speed it up.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that I'm not like one of those advocates that like all chess should be rapid chess or anything like that, but you know, from my perspective, like I would get massively bored watching a classical game from start to finish,
Yeah.
and I am like a huge chess fan, so
Yeah. Did you watch any
um,
of the candidates games start to finish?
no, absolutely not.
Okay. Okay. I figured
Actually,
that was.
maybe one of the Berlin draws. I watched that one start to
Okay.
finish,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
If it ends in
but
27 move prearranged, basically draw.
yeah,
Okay.
I think yeah, exactly. So
Uh,
go ahead.
and then tangential question: do you have any experience with college scholarships and gaining scholarships for chess?
I don't. I know a good amount of like how it's done and which schools do it. For me, it was never really something I seriously considered
Hmm.
doing. And but I think it is a pretty cool way, especially for very strong foreign players to come to the U.S. and study here. I think it's a definitely a win-win situation for both for the school and for the players. So yeah, I think it's a uh, I think it's a pretty cool idea in general.
Was it just not accessible to you? Did you not, you know,
It,
have any like local scholarships or anything like that, or were the scholarships just too few at the schools you were going to?
so the schools that I was looking at didn't really have any scholarship
Okay.
opportunities in terms of chess, but I think if I wanted to seek one out, there are certain schools that would have given me one.
Okay. Yeah, just that's just very interesting to 1000 GM. Okay, and then one more question from 1000 GM, and it's just this is a hard question, so you can say as much as you like or as little as you like. Do you think there is systemic discrimination in chess towards financially privileged players?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think there could be at higher levels. I think at lower levels, I would say less so, and increasingly less so now
Hmm.
that there's so much free content on the internet,
Yeah.
and that I think uh, yeah, I think there have been like a number of cases of just like people from like really like financially uh, you know uh, underprivileged backgrounds like going on being like incredibly successful at chess,
Yeah.
and I think that's due to the internet and due to the like all this free content, and so that's cool. I think at higher levels like FM plus, going for these IM and GM norms, I definitely think there is a financial barrier, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate. But uh, yeah, I think I would say that like it's obviously not impossible for someone from a like less financially well off background to become IM and GM because you can
Right.
enter these big opens and you can win them, but I think it is like a more sustainable path forward to go through norm tournaments or playing in Europe.
Great, great. I appreciate that. So let's take it back to when you first started playing chess. I'm very interested in hearing how you started, and let's just start with what age did you start playing chess?
Yeah, so I have a pretty typical story. My dad taught me when I was 4, and
Okay.
then I think I started beating him when I was like 6 or something, and then um, joined like my school. I was lucky enough to have like an after school chess program. So I went to that, and then played my first tournament when I was 8, and kind of the rest is history. I just kind of never really stopped playing.
At
I like
what age did you become a master?
That's funny. I actually don't know. I think I want to say like 13 or 14.
Oh wow,
So
that's a
kind
little late.
kind of late by
Yeah,
yeah.
by modern
Um,
standards at least. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think I've always been kind of like a little on the late side in terms of um, reaching milestones, but yeah, like I never really played, like I never played any world youth stuff. I never played like cadets or any of that. I was always kind of just outside of the rating range. So yeah,
How old are you
a
now?
little. I'm at the age where I start forgetting how old I am. I think I'm 27. 27.
That's great. That's great. All right. So let's actually pin that one right there. Why are you going back to get a GM norm at the age of 27? I assume you already have a job. You're probably working full time. Um, what is driving you to do that?
Yeah. So actually, back on the late bloomer topic, I got my IM title last year, just about a year ago, which is very late for by most standards.
Yeah.
Um, I've been consciously studying for the past couple of years, been working with a coach, and it's just kind of it's mostly just out of enjoyment. Like maybe getting the GM title is not something that I like absolutely need to do, I think,
Uh-huh.
but it's something that I would like to do, and I'd like to see if I'm able to do it, while kind of juggling a full time job.
Right. Well,
So
that's an uphill battle right there. First, though, let's give a
it
shout
is.
out to your coach. Who's your coach?
I actually think he'd prefer not to be
Okay,
named,
okay.
because
If
so
if you
it,
prefer
it's
not
a
to name him, but
is it
where does what's his like pedigree? Where does he come from?
yeah, he's like 2600 plus,
Okay,
European Grandmaster. So
great.
yeah, I've been working with him for a long time.
How long?
Uh, just over 2 years, I'd say 2.5
Okay,
years.
okay.
Yeah.
And why did you pick up this coach?
Actually, through kind of mutual friends, I had some friends who had taken lessons with him, and I kind of hopped on board, and yeah, I just kind of really liked teaching style, and I think he focuses on like his expertise is kind of where my weaknesses are. So I think
Right.
that it's a good match.
Okay, but I assume you got all the way through FM without really having a coach then, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So I got the FM title in like 2014, I want to say. So I had a 7 year gap between
I
FM and
see.
IM,
I see.
which is pretty large. Uh, but yeah, that was mostly just kind of, uh, yeah, a little bit of self study, but mostly kind of just coasting. And then, yeah, I haven't really studied chess seriously, in the past 6 years until about 2.5 years ago.
Let me guess. Was that college that basically postponed your chess study?
Yeah, that's right.
And then I assume you
Absolutely.
started a career. What are you working in? What field are you in?
I work in data science. I
Okay.
work at Lyft currently.
Oh, awesome.
So
Okay.
we've actually participated in the corporate chess uh, league, which is hosted by the Charlotte Chess Club. So
Awesome.
still I'm active in the chess scene there.
Excellent. Okay, great. And so then you said you'll be working full time while trying to achieve the GM title. So then what does your study routine look like? Do you study in the mornings or evenings or?
Yeah, I'm trying to do mornings. I'm more of a morning person, so I'm trying to do like 30, 45 minutes of tactics a day, some opening study. I have weekly lessons,
I mean, at what time?
but
6 a.m.?
yeah, I mean like 7:30,
Okay, okay.
most days, and try to look at some lines after work as well. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get that that you know motivation to do it every single day.
Yeah, and are you doing anything really specific? Are you working on specific openings or focusing on end games? Like, where is your main area of focus?
Yeah, I've thought a lot about this because I do have very limited time, so I try to focus on just the highest yield areas for me. So I'm not going to be any sort of like super well-rounded, like classically trained chess player. I'm just going to try to like focus on what will give me the rating.
Yeah.
So it's been very heavy on openings and calculation, really.
Okay. Without giving away too much, can you give us any glimpse into what you're preparing?
Oh, I try to like come up with something a little bit specific for each of my opponents. So
Okay.
yeah, that is one thing that you can't do in the big open Swisses is like you get pairings 30 minutes further around, you just kind of have to go. But for
Right.
these, when you have the pairings, like you can really put some thought into what you're gonna play.
And does that feel different to compete in that way? Does it feel more of a sport that way, or is there a difference in the feel?
It's definitely different. I think there is a little bit more of a meta game in these round robins. Because especially in the later rounds, like you start looking at what people played in the earlier rounds
Mm-hmm.
in case they like change and to like understand if they're like changing stuff up or if they're sticking with the normal stuff. But yeah, it's I don't know, it is what it is. I don't mind the preparation work.
All right, great. And for your chess preparation, do you do any other sort of like exercise routines or diets to you know up your level of competition?
Um, nothing like focused on chess specifically. I play a lot of tennis, so
Oh, okay.
but that's more of a hobby. It's not like I play tennis just to play chess better. Like
Right.
that's it's more of like I play tennis to play tennis.
Okay, that's great. So you just play a lot of tennis. It keeps you in shape anyway.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so you don't have to
exactly.
be really intentional about it. That makes sense. Um, and
Maybe that's why I'm not GM though.
well, yeah, yeah. Well, the fact that you work is a big reason, but I find it very fascinating that you're going to continue working full time. You're not going to cut down on any hours.
No, so I've like thought about this quite a bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think from what I've observed is that you can have a job and still get better at chess. You can be married, have a better and get better at chess. But as soon as you have a kid, like you're not going to get better at chess. Like that's the time box. So I think I'm currently engaged, and so we haven't like had any talks about that yet. But if that does come on the horizon, then maybe I'll have to think about taking some time off work if I really want to like
Right.
push for GM.
You want to give a shout out to your fiance?
Yeah. Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sophie. Well, we appreciate you splitting the time here and letting us borrow your fiance. So that's all super very interesting. Um, Let me transition one more time. One thing I really like to hear is what it feels like for you to play a competitive game of chess, um, and kind of walk us through like the beginning of the round, how you focus, how do you get yourself concentrated and in the mindset to play, and then what it feels like while you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, getting in the mindset is one thing that I think sometimes it actually takes me a full like round to get into the mindset, which is not great because I've dropped half a point or full points in round one of big open Swisses sometimes because I'm just like not mentally ready. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not good. But I did actually just play the World Open 2 days ago, so I feel like I'm
Oh,
I'm in the mindset now. So
right.
uh, yeah, I think it's you know it's there's a very conscious like shift in the game. It's like from when you go from your preparation until you have to start thinking,
Yeah.
like because either your opponent deviated or you've reached the end of your line. And yeah, I think you just take a little bit more time there and kind of uh, you know start like really analyzing moves, and I think making sure you take that pause is very important so you don't
Right.
accidentally blitz out a move that you didn't mean to.
Right. And did you actually? I'm very interested in hearing a little bit about your World Open experience. In
Mm-hmm.
that same vein, what was the longest opening preparation that you had? Like, how many moves deep? I know it's a tough question.
Um, yeah, it really depends on like how booked up your opponents are. Like sometimes you can
Right.
go
True.
very deep, but I think this tournament I didn't have any games that went tremendously deep. Honestly, I think maybe like 15 moves max.
I mean, that's
So
still surprising for an amateur,
yeah,
right? 15 moves is still very, very deep. I mean, not
yeah,
like let's say you're playing a Lopez position, you need to be like 25, 30 moves, but um, depending upon I think you're right, depending upon how booked they are, you're not going to get that deep if they deviate on move 9. So, yeah, that's very interesting. What did you finish at the World Open?
I got 5.5 out of 9, so it was fine. I think my USCF went up, my FIDE maybe broke even or went down a little bit, but all in all, it's a little bit of a wash. I was actually 5.5 out of 8 in the last round. If I won it, I would have won like $4,000, and then
Oh
I
man.
I got black against Lenderman. I was like, oh, like
Oh, you
I'm
played
not.
Lenderman in the last round.
Yeah, yeah, and then I
Apparently,
lost.
Lenderman is becoming a nemesis on this channel. Um, who
Yeah,
was
I saw
that?
Alex's
Yeah.
triple queen sacrifice against him. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, Alex had the triple queen sack. Yeah. So what are you gonna do? I mean, Lenderman's a super strong player, so you really can't feel too bad about losing with black. But what are you
Yeah.
gonna do to prepare when you meet a player like that at a 1,000 GM tournament? What are you gonna fix in your game that you can actually take to the next events?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just need to play a little bit more solidly. In that game, I kind of played the opening a little bit, I don't know, loosely or kind of like not as stringent as I normally would, and
Yeah.
ended up making a small mistake, and then I was worse, and then I just collapsed like very quick, rarely, shortly
Okay.
thereafter. So I think it's um, yeah, I think I just maybe wasn't maybe I was kind of like out of the mindset. I was like a little bit checked out of this tournament, and probably should not have been.
Yeah. Along with that, can you tell us how important it is to be psychologically prepared, especially for a very strong opponent like Lenderman, who's 2,700 plus?
Yeah, I mean, I think confidence is actually very important in chess. Like I can feel when I'm playing moves confidently, like I'm playing typically better and spending a lot less time.
Right.
And I think like I think my mindset going in that round wasn't very good. I was like kind of annoyed because I got double black and I got Lenderman. I was like, oh, like that's probably like the worst pairing possible. Like if I'm like playing for money. And then um, yeah, I think I didn't really like believe. And then like he played an opening I wasn't expecting, and I like didn't really have the belief that like, oh, I'm gonna like buckle down and like
I
win this game.
see.
I was just kind of like just kind of like more disgusted with like the whole turn of events really, which was not the right mindset at all.
Right. Right. I mean, it is very hard to be surprised with black though against a very strong player. I mean, that's going to put you on your back foot.
Or hard to be surprised, or easy to be surprised.
No, I mean hard to
I
adjust
see.
to the surprise,
Yeah,
right? Hold on one second. Yeah, our internet connection froze for a second, but yeah, it's hard to adjust to that surprise. I mean, it can feel like a cold shower. You could,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I was just I prepared a couple things, and he played something else, and I was just like it was a little bit frustrating.
All right, we're not going to dwell on that. Let's move on to the rapid fire
Yeah.
questions. So these are just going to be short answers, and they're meant to be fun. So have some fun with them. I'm going to lead with this one that I've been leading with. Or who is your favorite superhero?
Oh, can I say Rafael Nadal?
Oh wow!
That
You picked another sportsman. I love it.
Did
No
someone
one's
else do that?
no one's
Okay.
said that before, so that's pretty amazing. Oh, well, you are a big tennis fan, so it kind of makes sense. Okay, I have to follow up. Can you elaborate why you chose him?
I just think he's like, uh, you know, speaking of like that killer mindset, he's just always in there, and it's there's a lot of parallels between tennis and chess. Like I have a funny like group chat with some of my chess friends, and they're like, oh, this guy Nadal is just like he's like a 2800, just like defending against these like 2650s, like trying to beat him, and he just always beats them. Like yeah,
That's
it's
great.
a
That's great.
I
I
think
love
there are a
that.
lot of parallels though.
Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, let's move on to if if you could pick any actor to play you in a movie, who would it be? Like the movie of your life. What actor would you pick?
Um, yeah, I've been told Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a good
Oh, nice.
doppelganger,
There you
but
go.
yeah, yeah, I'll go with that.
I mean, you could pick anybody. You could pick, The Rock, or doesn't have to look like you.
Um, it's all right. I'll stick
Okay,
with
stick with
stick
that.
with
Okay,
that
no
guy.
problem. Okay, what is your favorite chess movie or TV show?
Hmm. Uh, I really did like Queen's Gambit, but I think I have to go with Brooklyn Castle. I think it was just
Ooh, awesome.
it was very cool
Have you
documentary.
have you met Justice?
Yeah,
Justice
yeah, yeah.
Biggs?
I've played a ton of tournaments with him. I haven't actually played him, but I don't think. But yeah, it's I've met him.
Yeah, I mean he's an IM as well, so I assume you
Yeah.
had. Um, okay, and then um, what's let's see. No, I want a fun question. What's your favorite holiday destination?
Hmm. With any holiday, summer or winter,
Yeah,
or
yeah, any
mostly
holiday. Yeah,
winter.
yeah.
Hmm. I really like oh, it's tough. I really like Southeast Asia. My fiance and I went to Vietnam not too long ago, and it was just a really fun time.
Excellent, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna follow up with a tennis question. What's your
Okay,
so I assume your favorite player is Nadal, right?
it depends, but yeah,
Oh,
I think
okay.
I mean Nadal's up there, yeah, for
What does
sure.
it depend on?
I think sometimes I'll like watch a match and be like, oh, like I really like the way this guy plays. Like there's this guy Alex Deminar who's like he's just very like he's a grinder. Like he's by far like not the strongest. And he's like not the doesn't have the best shots, but he's like just very speedy and very kind of scrappy. And like I really like watching him play.
Awesome. Do you see yourself as an underdog?
Wow. I mentioned confidence is very important, so I have to say no.
Okay, good.
But yeah.
That's fine. I know. I'm just curious. Um, and then let's end on this fun question. What message would you like to give to your fans?
All right, it's my four fans probably.
12. I bet
Uh,
12. Don't worry.
so, okay, yeah. I don't know, just yeah. Thanks for the support, and yeah, no, don't put too much of your uh, happiness on the line because I don't know if I'm gonna uh, crush this tournament or not, but I'll have a good time. So
Awesome.
that's what
Okay,
matters.
let's move on to the game portion, and I am very excited to see one of your best games. So go ahead and share your screen when you're ready.
Oh, sure. Um, so I should preface this with that. So this is Carlsen Nepo Game 6. This is not the one I'm going to show, since I'm sure everyone has seen this multiple times. But I want to preface this with that there are two styles of games that I really like. One is like a very, very long grind. So that's why Carlsen Nepo Game 6 is one of my favorite games in recent history. And the second game, which is the type I'm going to show, is a swindle, where you're just completely lost, but somehow managed to create enough confusion to either hold a draw or sometimes even win the game.
Oh, you're choosing one
Um,
of my favorite female players from New York.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
very
yeah. No,
specific, though.
yeah, no, I know Alyssa pretty well, and I have a ton of respect for her. She's also full time working at a law firm, and she
Yeah.
set up like she set up like an in-person corporate chess league in like 2017 that was really fun, and that I played in New York.
Oh, she set
Um,
up the league that you were playing in, or
this
is it a
this is a
different league?
different one.
Oh,
Yeah,
total, a
there's
totally different
multiple.
league. Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. We might have to
but
go into the world of corporate chess because I don't think many people know about that.
yeah.
All right, let's see your
Uh,
game though.
so this game was at the 2016 Millionaire Chess Open, which was a tournament that only happened, I think, twice, and the whole
Three times.
shtick was that, oh, three times,
Three
okay,
times.
and the
Yeah.
shtick was that like the prize fund is $1 million.
Right.
So yeah, this one, well, you'll see.
And
So
where was 2016? Was that still in Vegas?
this one was in Vegas.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I don't remember what our scores were this round, but I don't think we were like having particularly good tournaments. And I decided to open with Scandinavian with knight of six, which is not my
Oh,
normal
wow.
repertoire.
Wow. Awesome.
Well, you'll see it. It does not turn out super awesome for me. But I clearly didn't really know anything, and she played very quickly, grabbed the center,
Yeah.
and I ended up
Oh, so
h3 is an annoying move.
you just played this on the fly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh wow. How often do
Yeah,
you do that?
well, this was before I was taking chess seriously and before I had
Okay.
to coach. So these days, very rarely.
Very
but
rare,
in
okay.
those days, I was more of a free spirit. Um, So yeah, she plays this annoying move h3, which sometimes limits my bishop. Like maybe I should have tried to get the bishop to f5 a lot sooner, but we'll see. Both sides developing a little bit. And yeah, at this point, black is, you might look at this position and say, okay, black just has a little less space, but actually it's quite bad for black. If black could have traded this bishop for this knight, like it would actually be a lot more palatable of a position.
Right.
But with these extra pieces on, like black's camp is just so cramped that it's really hard to make anything happen. And in fact, yeah, I have it in the notes here, but I really just need to play e5, and she can respond with d5 and even get d6, and I just kind of have to live with this. But what I end up doing is just absolutely nothing. I just kind of sit back, and she just like keeps moving forward, trades off the bishops. She just expands on the queen side, which is pretty good. I think a lot of less experienced chess players might just immediately go for the center, but she's expanding on all wings, and I really just don't have anything I can do. Like my c5 is always a d5. I can't trade this bishop off.
Yeah,
my knight.
You have no real active plan here, do you?
No, I have absolutely nothing. So this is pretty sad. She plays queen e3, great move. Knight e5 is a good move. I try to challenge it. She plays f4. So now it's like if I take, I'm getting destroyed on the f file. This knight has no squares. So this is
bishop is looking super sad on e6.
Yeah, so it's safe to say that this opening did not go well for me. Knight f8 is also just like a pretty sad move to play. Plays bishop d3, and at this point I realized that f5 is just completely happening either right now or after g4.
Yeah, you had to play knight f8, I think, though, right? Because that bishop would almost be trapped.
Yeah, I think, I don't even really remember the reasons for all these moves, but
Wait. Just to give the audience a view of how bad this position is, turn on the engine real quick. I want to see the number. How bad is this position?
Oh, okay. It's only +2.
Oh yeah, only +2. Yeah. At this level though, that should be pretty close to lost, right? Like
I mean, this is.
But Melkina is like 2350, right?
Yeah, and like the engine is saying, oh, I should move this knight backwards now for whatever reason, which seems I don't know.
Keep going backwards and hope. Keep going backwards. Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah,
so I play queen d6, which I think is more of a human move. I'm just trying to make some threats.
You can turn the engine off now. Yeah, you don't have to keep it running.
Which she promptly shuts down, which makes sense.
Right.
And now I play bishop f5, just trying to accept the bad pawn structure in order to blockade the f pawn and at least trade the bishops, and then maybe I can have some play on this pawn.
Yeah.
And she very this is a nice find by her. She just takes and plays g4, and now.
Oh wow.
Let's guess the eval. Oh, it's only +2 if I play, but I have to find e6, and then just accept double isolated pawns next to my king.
Yeah, that's a computer line for sure. I mean, you probably could find it because you want to keep the F file blocked, but yeah. That's hard.
You're a take, and I believe here it's about plus. Oh, that's only +3. I thought it was more than that, but this is it's pretty funny that I'm actually up a pawn, but it's +3.5.
Yeah, but it's a very natural attack for white here, right? Like, I mean, even G5 is just fine. I mean, it was saying it's +2.5 for G5, so I mean, it's super natural. Rook D3.
Yeah.
I mean, Rook D3 was a move that I was thinking about as well for white. So
it's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, all these moves are completely fine. Like I got one pawn, but I still don't have any play. Like it'd be a lot different if I got a pawn. Yeah, it'd be a lot different if I got a pawn and I could like start running something and like making threats. But really, my queen's just kind of a liability here. Like now there's like other ideas coming. So I retreat. Finds F5, which is pretty good. Now throws check, king h8, knight f7 mates. So I would have to give up my knight on g6.
Ooh, that's nasty.
So I play h6, which is a long shot, and she plays g5 very prudently.
Wait, how are you escaping here? How? Tell me. Like, okay, what were you feeling in this moment, in this game, in this part of the game? Were you just feeling absolute panic, or like I don't care?
No, yeah. I think at this point, this was past the point of panic for sure. This was like, oh, well, I think there's actually a point when you're like so lost that it's like, okay, you've like accepted it, and I'm just like, well, I'll just keep playing moves and see what happens. So at this point, I just sack my knight because it's like there's nothing else to be done. She takes, I take, and kind of funnily, like these pawns are actually make my king a little bit safer and helps remove this knight. Although I'm a knight down for one pawn, not even 2 pawns. So obviously this game should be over pretty shortly.
Yeah.
She finds queen g3, knight g4. These are all best moves. Play rook g8 with a very sneaky threat of just taking it, and then playing rook g8, which should be nice. G of course sees this. I play rook g5 with kind of a little bit of a fortress here, I'd like to say, but it's not the best fortress, seeing as this knight's coming to e4 very quickly.
But the practical element of this position is pretty obvious, though. That now white's king is more exposed than black's king.
Yeah.
So even though the computer says it's dead lost, there's still like a small practical chance here, which obviously,
very small.
Yeah, very small.
and then she plays queen h4, which immediately wins this because if I play h5, there's knight f6, and then the rook hangs. So, play rook h8, which actually is a nice move because she can't take with the queen. So knight king g8, knight e4, king g7. So I'm giving. Well, obviously she can't take the rook because hg, and I win the queen. So she plays knight h2, queen e4, and she actually takes the rook, which is actually amazingly a mistake. So now I'm down a rook for 2 pawns. But surprisingly, the evaluation is better than it was before.
Right.
Which is
you were dead before, but now there's a little bit of life on the H file.
There is, right? So like the king is unsafe. My rook is very active. My queen is actually very active. These pawns are coming down, and once the C pawn goes, like maybe my knight will have some prospects. So I could tell that when you count this on paper, you're like, okay, I'm up a rook for 2 pawns. This is ridiculous. Like, why is this guy still playing? But in practice, it's not the easiest conversion. Now my king is actually like ultra safe behind this like shield of pawns.
Yeah.
So I grab a 3rd pawn. She plays rook a3, which actually is very passive. But I think at this point, I could kind of feel the tides returning. Like I definitely did not think I was going to win this game, but I was thinking, okay, like maybe I can actually hold this because I still have threats. Like she has no threats. Like I have attacks against the king, and I think the computer lines are a little bit tougher to find now. Like she needs to somehow swing the rook to h3, like trade it off, and then play like knight g4 and invade with the queen.
Mm-hmm.
but we'll skip ahead. So I start getting active. Actually grab a fourth pawn, which is, I think was actually a mistake. I think I actually should have gone for the activity.
Yeah.
But it's hard not to grab a fourth pawn.
Also, psychologically, you might be causing her some psychological pain seeing the two passers on the A and B file.
Yeah, and so it's important to note that at this point we're actually getting pretty low on time, and there's no like, I don't believe there's a sudden death control. So this we're not like in a full time scramble yet, but the time is definitely working to my advantage because my position is much easier to play. Like I have a simple plan of trying to push these pawns and harass the king, and it's not super clear like what she's trying to do here.
Yeah.
Obviously we don't trade queens because I need to keep threats against the king. Actually snag f5, which I think was actually a mistake, funnily enough, because it allows her to double up on the f file and create some threats. Actually, this pawn was actually one of my shields. So
interesting.
Taking it was actually
Do you know what's better here?
I think it was just kind of running away, maybe. Yeah, queen c7. Actually, this is -0.5, so I'm actually thinks black is. Or I'm actually even a little better.
Tiny advantage, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big surprise. Honestly, down a rook here, but why? Can you explain why? Because this is a little opaque of a position.
Yeah, I think I have explained it. I think it's just white's extra rook just doesn't have prospects, right? Like there's usually if you have extra pieces, you want to attack the king, and that's you'll just overwhelm the king with your attackers versus the defenders. But right now it's like this open file doesn't do anything. Like I have pretty stronghold here.
Now,
like if she could.
Right, now I see why
you could somehow like
f5 pawn is so bad because it does allow that counterplay on the f file. The rook can swing over to f3. Wow, that's very interesting.
So this actually gives her prospects. Yeah, okay, so it's not a huge blunder, but now it's like you can see rook f1, rook f3 is the new idea, and suddenly like white is a little bit more comfortable now.
Yeah, it's interesting in this position that pawns are the new rook.
Yeah, I mean now I have 5 pawns for a rook. I'm not even down material anymore. Then so I gave this up. I don't think I had a choice. I don't exactly remember why, but so now I'm actually losing again. But this is all part of the time scramble.
Right.
And so now I'm just putting some desperation checks, like pushing a4. She's playing too passively here. I think she needs to try to find some sort of, mating attacks. Like I think she needs to create more threats against my king. So we actually trade the queens, which is actually I think is an improvement for me because I think that these attacks could have been dangerous for me. But now I am still down a rook, but I do have some passers, and this knight is very far from helping, and it's currently pinned. So
yeah, you're almost playing just down an exchange here with the passers.
Yeah, I think computer still says probably like +3. Yeah,
okay.
So computer finds a win, obviously, but
computer always finds it.
Yeah, but okay, I got my pawn to a2. I think there was some interesting mating combination here, but it's actually no, sorry. I think here it's actually no. Okay, there is some way for it to keep playing, but
yeah, but this is almost a draw now.
Yeah, I recall at this point she had like a couple of seconds. Like she was only playing on increment now, and I think I still had like 2 or 3 minutes.
Is there no repetition here? She was still trying to win.
Yeah. So here I like obviously she has a repetition here. But I remember thinking in the game like there's no way she takes it. Like I feel like she knew she was up a rook and she was like too frustrated to settle down and take the draw, which is understandable. But I think that is kind of one of the qualities of a much stronger players. Like they're good at resetting like mid game and saying, okay, like I was winning, I'm not winning anymore. I have no time. Like just take the draw and cut your losses.
Right.
And she did keep playing. She was actually still much better, but she had to find something here. She still has a draw, but now it's not so easy. Like she has to play check, and then she has to find like rook d6, creating like a windmill kind of thing, but instead she chases me, which is the natural thing to do when you have no time. And then unfortunately my king gets away, and
Wow.
suddenly it's dead lost for her.
Wow.
Um,
And then
yeah. So
the A pawn becomes the consequential pawn. I see. And then yeah,
exactly.
and then the B pawn will promote also, or she'll sack the rook for it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So I want to apologize to Alyssa for showcasing this game, because I'm sure this is not her favorite game by any means, but I think I think she completely outplayed me in the opening, and I think it was more luck than anything that my fork just kind of actually gave me a lot more chances than it probably should have, in a
Yeah.
practical sense.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that Alyssa is hope she's probably over this game by now, so I don't think it should be
Yeah,
too
it
much
was
of
it
a
was 6 years ago, so
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. All right, well that was very interesting. I think it's about time to wrap up. So
Cool.
let's switch back and do a few closing things. So um, we have just a few weeks until the 1000 GM inaugural event, and what are you going to be doing in these 2 weeks to prepare for it?
Yeah, so I am actually playing a Norm event this weekend, starting
Oh,
tonight even.
great.
So I'll play those games, get some experience there, and then in the next 2 weeks I'll be definitely preparing for my opponents at the 1000 GM tournament. And yeah, I think just staying sharp with calculation, and having a game plan against each opponent is what's critical right now.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to get this interview in, and I hope you have a good event uh, this weekend. And then I hope that you'll do well in the 1000 GM event and get a title or get a norm. Do you need all three norms for the GM title, or do you have one already?
I don't have any GM norms yet,
Okay.
so
All right, so
this
you're just
would be my
looking for
first.
three. I mean, if you can get it this weekend and then the 1000 GM event, then you would have two. So good luck at doing that. And
All right.
I really appreciate your time, Kyron Griffith, and that hopefully you'll do your very best in the 1000 GM event.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for having me. And thanks for the invitation. I'm really, really excited to play.
All right. Well, have a nice day, and thanks again to you as well.
All right. Thanks. Take care.